Most Nigerians, they think Starlink is just an expensive Wi-Fi. But I think that is not the real idea here. Because the real question is not whether Starlink is fast, it is not whether it is affordable. The real question is what happens when your main internet fails, what you call main. Not if it fails, when it fails. Because in Nigeria, internet failure is almost part of the subscription package. MTN can show full bars and still refuse to load. Airtel can be connected and your Zoom call will still freeze. Glo can enter Edge Network Ministry at the worst possible time. Your fiber provider can suddenly say, sir, there's a general issue. Talking about fiber, I'm subscribing to Fiber One. I'm hoping they will come and install it next week. All right. And your POS can also refuse to connect while a customer is standing in front of you. We all know this feeling. That is why Starlink matters, not just because of speed tests, not just because people are posting 200 Mbps online, but because Starlink gives you something more important, a second path to the internet. And in Nigeria, that second path may be more valuable than speed. Welcome back to AY Excellent Tech. If this is your first time here, my name is Ayodele, and on this channel, I break down real tech issues from the way we experience it here in Nigeria and Africa. Not just specs, not just shiny marketing, but how tech affects your home, your business, your content creation, your work, and your everyday life. Today, I want us to look at Starlink differently. Most people see it as another internet provider. Some see it as expensive Wi-Fi. Some say it is something for rich people or remote areas. But I think Starlink is becoming something bigger. Nigeria's backup internet layer. Let's get into it. And normal internet has one big weakness, which I've discussed on this channel. If you have not watched that video, you can go watch it here. Now, most of the internet we use in Nigeria depends on grand infrastructure. Fiber cables, cell towers, masts, data centers, undersea cables, and local ISP equipment. That is how MTN, Airtel, Glo, fiber, broadband, office internet, POS networks, and many local ISPs stay connected. Let's call that Layer 1. Layer 1 is powerful, it has served us, but it is fragile. A fiber cut and a whole area can start complaining. One mass problem and your 4G becomes decoration. One provider outage and your whole business can pause for a whole week. And an undersea cable fault can make countries feel it too. We saw this in 2024 when undersea cables issues affected internet across West Africa, including Nigeria. So the problem is simple. Most of our internet still depends on one fragile part. And when that one part fails, everything behind it suffers. It doesn't care whether you are doing election. It does not care whether you are performing your biggest transaction so far. It can fail, and of course, you will suffer for it. What Starlink gives you is another path. This is what makes Starlink different. Starlink does not depend on the same local mast or fiber line in your area. It connects your dish to satellite in low Earth orbit, and that means your connection path is different. It is not perfect, but different. If your mobile network is congested, Starlink is not using that same local mast. If your fiber line is cut nearby, Starlink is not waiting for the same cable to be repaired before it works. If your ISP is having a local issue, Starlink gives you another route, something you can bank on. And that is the real issue. It is not just about speed, it is backup, redundancy, a second way to stay online. We understand backup very well in Nigeria. When NEPA fails, you use generator. When fuel is expensive, you use inverter. In fact, you can use gas. When inverter is low, you use power bank. Some people still keep candle somewhere just in case life happens or Nigeria wants to misbehave. If you run a business, internet failure can cost you money. If you run a church live stream, internet failure can scatter your broadcast. If you work remotely, internet failure can make you look very unserious. You imagine streaming and it looks as though you are using 2G. So things like that. If you create content, internet failure, it can waste your whole day uploading videos online. So Starlink is not just Wi-Fi, it is internet backup. This is why I call it layer 2 or second layer. Layer 1 is the normal grand internet, fiber, mast, and all of that, which we have mentioned. Layer 2 is the backup part above the ground. This is where Starlink comes in. It does not replace MTN, Airtel, Glo, or fiber. It adds another layer, and that is how serious infrastructure works. You don't depend on only NEPA. You don't depend on only one camera for serious production. You don't depend on only one audio source for live stream. So why should serious business, churches, creators, schools, and remote workers depend on only one internet source? The future is layered internet. Fiber as main, Starlink as backup. You get what I mean? Mobile data as emergency fail or fallback. Power backup to keep everything running. That is not luxury. That is serious planning. So when people say Starlink is just expensive Wi-Fi, I really don't fully agree, because it is internet. It is not cheap. It is not perfect. Yes, but the bigger point is this: Nigeria does not just need faster internet. Nigeria needs more reliable internet. And Starlink gives many people a second path when the first part fails. This is why I called it Nigeria's internet layer 2. And in fact, if you look at it all across the world, it could be a layer 2 for everybody, because the real test of your internet is not how fast it is when everything is working. The real test is what happens when everything else fails. If your main internet failed today, what is your backup? MTN, Glo, or what? Drop your answer in the comment section and subscribe for more honest tech breakdowns from the Nigerian reality. I want to know your backup internet in the comment section. I'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.